I'm Jenny-Jaymes and my sidekick, Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen's sidekick. Welcome to 2 Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you soon.
All right, and then we will do it when you hear the music. Here we go.
A little situation. Listen. You see the get hot.
Good morning, everybody. It is 2 Queers in a Truck time, and it is, gosh, it's already June 18th. It's
June
hard to
19th.
actually.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, yeah, June 19th.
Yeah.
Like, math is hard. It's one of those things. Wow, it's still Pride Month, obviously,
Yeah.
but by the way, it's 2 Queers in a Truck. I'm with Christian and Jenny, and woo, and we're gonna jump right into it because I picked some fascinating topics that the first 4 aren't necessarily based on current events, and you'll see more when we unfold these. And Christian has no idea what I'm about to talk about, so these are all surprises to him, which is our normal format. We keep it G13 classified so that he has a surprise look. But we will go into the first one, which is coming out obsolete, or was it always a bad idea? Is how come specifically gay men have to declare or have to come out? Why does the process even exist? And it's a question I think we always just assume that they have to come out because it's stating that the norm is straightness, and that gay men can't be gay, boys can't be gay. Is that they have to be, they're assumed straight until otherwise denoted, like innocent until proven guilty. And why is it that way versus in some cases? I mean, and I say this because I've had friendships with several moms that had gay sons, and one of the comments they always said is, we kind of always knew, we just waited for him to actually come to the realization, but it was kind of obvious. In fact, one of the nurses that was in my very first clinic that I was getting my hormones from back in 2016, we talked about that. And she said, in fact, he was a twin, and his brother is very, very straight, and the other one is very, very gay. And very clearly, like there's him being straight doesn't even, there's not like a subtle, gayness. He was probably singing show tunes at 2 months old, it's one of those things where everybody knew in their lives and almost didn't really care. It was just presumed he was going to grow up and be gay. And his first person that he was going to date was going to be a boy. And so, and I know not everybody's in that situation. There's a lot of people that are straight passing, whatever that means. Which I just hate that term too. Because again, it says that there's something inherently wrong with being gay, that you'd have to come out, and that it normalizes straightness, that straightness is the only real option, that you can't be bi, you can't be pan, you can't be gay, or you can't be sexually fluid. And there's so many other terms. There's just a rainbow of terms now. And to just say straight's the norm and that everybody else has to come out. I'm going, well, why don't we apply that standard to everybody? Why don't we all have to come out at some point, like almost like a coming out quinceañera or something like that, where you have to have some sort of celebration by, I don't know, age 13. Let's pick an arbitrary number while we're at it. And just like, this is our coming out birthday, is the 12 or 13 or 10 or whatever it is. Even if you don't know, you got to declare something. And I think it's just as arbitrary, and I think it's just as dumb as forcing a group of people to have to come out, when I should be able to just go by what I want to go by. I want to love who I want to love, and I want to be who I want to be. And I don't really need a coming out day. I don't really need a deal. And I think some of it's our own community's fault for taking a very toxic tradition and institutionalizing it and forcing it upon people, when coming out shouldn't even be a thing. It should be, yeah, Christian, he happens to be gay, but he's also a Tejano, he's also a Latino, he's also a politician, he's also a broadcaster, he's also a human, he's also, a humanitarian, he's a feminist, like, we can go down the checklist of labels. Why do we have to even lead with our sexuality or our gender? And I think it gets us in these traps to where we're almost forced into a box automatically from Jump Street. Is that the coming out process itself is almost like our first bully. Oh, I gotta come out. Which, gives you an existential dread, no matter how well early in life or late in life, the coming out process itself is so brutal. And so, because once you come out, you're just kind of like, oh, I don't even know why I made it such a big damn deal. Like if I just would have started dating guys and not said anything, people would have eventually figured it out, especially with the social medias now and the Google machine. You just go, wow, they're fucking dating a dude. I guess they're gay. And no batteries included, and it's just one of those weird things. Are we not the definition of insanity by doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? And I love our community to actually do that. And on that same note, the second topic is intertwined with the first topic, which is there's a thing in especially amongst transgender women that's called passing as a natal woman or a cis woman. Insanely toxic, because I always ask people, when they say I'm passing, I'm going, passing is what? Is a pineapple? A donut? A puppy? What are you passing as? And because I think beauty standards, just like the coming out standard, causes an artificial barrier that doesn't exist. Like, we all evolve in our look. Our look is not a static thing. Humans aren't static. We're ever changing. We're aging. We change our hair color. We change. Sometimes nature changes our hair color by graying us out or giving us a salt and pepper beard or whatever. Some of it's voluntary and involuntary. We gain weight. We lose weight. I look dramatically different than I did when I was 6 months old. I look dramatically different from being 18 to this age. Like, there's different stages of life where we all look different. Putting gender to the side, putting transitioning to the side, even if I never transitioned, if I'd have never even started doing this thing, I still would probably look different than I did at 35. Maybe not as dramatic, maybe not as a opposite thing, but I would still look different. We all do. We all change subtly every year, every birthday. We look a little bit different than the year before, whether we realize it or not. And I think that passing standard, just like coming out, is one of those fake beauty standards that a lot of men, it's male driven in the fashion industry, for example. Oh, she's too old. She's too fat. She's too this. She's too that. And we see it put on a lot of women, femme identities. We see this a lot in the gay male community, where there's a lot of fat shaming or body shaming. Oh, he's not tall enough. He's too tall. He's, like blah 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 blah. And we put these artificial barriers. Well, what's too tall? Is it 6'4"? Is it 6'1"? What's the cutoff point where all of a sudden that's too tall? And we try to standardize or normalize when we're all a big box of mixed fruits and nuts. We're all so different. That's the beauty of humanity, is the diversity. Yet we try to take the diversity out of the humanity, and it doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. There's so many different skin tones within, every box and category you want to deal in, and none of us, except for maybe identical twins, do we even look alike? And even identical twins, sometimes one has a beard and one doesn't, or whatever it is. The DeMarc's one of them, and I think when you try to apply a general standard of passing, well, I go, yeah, I'm going to look different than a 25-year-old trans woman because I ain't 25. I've been seeing that number a long time. In fact, I'm over double that. so how do how do my version of passing would be different than a 25-year-old, because it wouldn't, the standards wouldn't even be appropriate, even if there was a standard. And what does passing look like, and where do we draw the line? Is that person that's so close to passing actually the standard, or is there a certain hard line where everybody on this side of the line got too many masculine edges, so they don't repeat, they don't pass? Like, no soup for you, just like in Seinfeld, the soup Nazi. No soup for you, no passing for you. It's a stupid all or nothing standard that I think, again, I would love in pride conversations in the future. I would love to get rid of them. I would love to just see a world where we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot and punch ourselves in our own face. But that is our second topic, and we'll come back with some more Two Queers in the Truck after this short break. Hey y'all, it's International Pride Month, and I want to wish everybody, our fellow queer neighbors and our allies, a happy Pride Month. Spend money in Target and your local queer black and brown businesses as well. But happy Pride. Thanks for watching this show, and be safe out there.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, Dave. Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye. Happy Pride. Hey, thanks for watching Two Queers in the Truck, and Christian and I just blathering on about craziness in the world today. Y'all be safe out there. There is a lot of Republicans on the road.
That's right.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Hey, y'all, we want to do a special shout out to everybody that is going to celebrate Juneteenth this coming week. We appreciate you as our neighbors, and we hope that all the communities of color have a very happy holiday and a very happy June. And we appreciate you. We see you. Love y'all. Bye. And we are back. And my third topic, or third food for thought topic, um, is what if we had a genderless society? I mean, what makes somebody a man? I mean, what makes somebody a woman? And nobody can seem to answer it. You can be assigned female at birth, you can be assigned male at birth, just because whether you have an innie or an outie, just depending on your indoor or outdoor plumbing. But then you still have intersex people with ambiguous genitalia. So what about them? What about all the other variations of genetics and chromosomes that are out there? What makes why do we have to declare that? Why do we only have to pick between two boxes when there's 31 flavors according to Baskin Robbins? You know, why do we say, oh my God, you have to be all of something or nothing at all? It's such a binary false choice when some days I may, and even the femme standards, like, oh, femininity would be like wearing a dress or assigning gender to a dress. Like all dresses are worn by natal females. Wow, I mean, what's a robe? What's a priest's robe? What was a judge's robe? With priests, typically that denotes that they are male. So there's dresses for men. In fact, there's specific dresses that are tailored for males because the males typically don't have breasts. And so they design that they make a little bit of a different cut. And the fashion designers design it to be more for a male body, whether it is custom or off the rack. But what makes you a man? Anger issues? um, Misogyny? You know, what exactly makes you a man? It's just so bizarre because there's so many. I know so many men have quote unquote feminine traits, and I think it's amazing. I got some straight and gay male friends and bisexual male friends that I'll see that one flash in a pan where you go, well, you held that sandwich a little bit limp wristed, or you know, you said, hey, you know, or there's a little bit of a Queenie thing. We talk about it, you know, several of the local politicians, especially the more conservative ones, how Queenie they can be. Is that moment? Does that switch them to a different team? Does it denote some, you know, some sexual gender standard that, oh well, they must be gay or trans, you know, if they do that? I'm like, so they do one thing and all of a sudden they get put in a box, because we can't possibly be a fluid society. We can't possibly Prince that never declared you know, a specific gender fluidity. Every one of his costumes for stage was a female design. There was a woman's quote unquote design. He wore heels, he wore other things that would be typical of what a woman would wear. That were designed for women, quote unquote, which is really wild because he just looked good in his clothes. You know, he just looked damn. He was hot. You know, in his day. Well, he was hot even when he was older, and why did it have to be denoted as women's clothes? Clothes is genderless. And by the way, we need to start normalizing putting pockets in most clothes. How the hell did women not get pockets in most clothes? Why in the hell would you ever make a pair of jeans and not have pockets on them? Or a dress? Like most of my dresses actually have secret or side or front pouch pockets if they're overall dressed. And I love pockets on a dress. Like it's the stupidest thing not to have pockets. One thing we do need to normalize is putting pockets in all clothes, but especially women's clothes. Because I think a pocketless outfit is probably the single most dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And how inconvenient is it? Don't cheat me out of pockets. I want my pockets. Even a hot pocket's kind of nice every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, there's some of this stuff. By the same standard, by the same token, I think another thing that's really weird is that, and especially this happens to men, that if you kiss one guy, you date one guy, all of a sudden you're gay forever. You're gay to the day you die now. Even though after that you date 50 women in a row. Then you can have a streak before and after. Date one dude, you're gay forever. And it's such our society, especially American society, we're so extreme. Oh, you have to be over there. You can't possibly be a potpourri or a mixed bag of things. You have to hate guns if you're a progressive. You have to love the Star Spangled Banner if you're a conservative. You have to be a patriot. You have to be that. What a hot and cold, stupid idea is that? When warm is just as good. Like, it's so bizarre. And all these first four topics all speak to this. We have to be on one side or another. We can't be on the side of peace. Well, peace for who? Peace for everybody. Why can't we be anti-war? All war is bad. Why can't I side with Israel and Palestine at the same time? I don't want war for either side. I don't want either side bombed. How about that? I want all peace. Why can't we choose peace? Just peace. If we're going to pick an extreme, let's pick a good one. Let's be super clean about our environment and clean up our environment and remove the toxins and fight global warming. If we're going to be extreme about something, instead of being extreme about war, making it our biggest budget, our Department of War, aka the Department of Defense, we spend more money on our defense budget in the federal budget than anything else. God, what would our world look like if we took that same philosophy towards peace and said, these are the peaceful activities that will create peace in our society and around the world? If we invest that same $1 trillion+ that we spend on intelligence and bomb making and shit, and just divvy that up into peaceful activities, healthcare, building better roads, better bridges, fighting all the horrible existential threat of environmental doom that we're facing. Because we're going to move to Mars instead, so we can fuck that place up too, or wherever else, like the moon, the Titan moon around Saturn. Like, we're all going to cram into a rocket, all 8 billion of us. That's a great solution. Or we're going to live on the moon when we got a perfectly good planet here. Like, why the fuck would we leave here? This is a pretty good place. Like, it's the most sustainable, livable habitat in our solar system. Yet, again, we pick these extremes. Yeah, he kissed a guy. He's a man that loves a man forever. No straightness for you. No bisexuality for you. Could never date a girl again. It's such a. We wonder why we do have a thing about being closeted. We wonder why we do have these weird cockamamie standards, because gosh, we build in the trauma. It's like the built-in obsolescence that the big three domestic automakers, had for a long time, where there's planned obsolescence, where cars would break down by typically certain mileages, like 100,000 miles or 75,000 miles. So they wrote all the warranties to expire right after the planned, right before the planned obsolescence. We have planned stupidity amongst ourselves. Like we built in stuff that's going to end badly, typically. That's going to screw each other up, and then wonder why we have such a jacked up, let's shoot each other society. But we are over gets our second break, and we'll come back with some more Two Queers in a Truck after this. Hey y'all, just a happy reminder from all of us at Coffee and Pedalce is Happy Pride Month, Happy International Pride Month. And whomever you are, whether you're an ally or a member of the LGBT community, please celebrate and please show your pride, whether you're in or out of the closet. All lives are valid, and we appreciate y'all, and fly your flags and enjoy your month. Thanks for participating. See y'all
Happy
next
Pride.
week. Happy Pride.
All right, excellent. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube, but you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
And we are back. These are four topics that have bounced around in my head for a long time, and us being net deep in Pride Month. I didn't want to do just a full show of events and in the news, even though the last two topics are. I wanted to talk about these, and these would be things that we should talk about again, because I think that all or nothing is serves us no purpose. I think certain things should be all or nothing, like human rights, for example. I don't think is debatable. I think everybody deserves, their basic inalienable human rights. I think there's certain things we should always be able to say. We should all be anti-racist. We should all be anti-war. And we should all be pro-peace. We should work at it until we get it right. What's the harm in that? And shifting that massive DoD budget into more peaceful projects wouldn't hurt my feelings any. In the news this week, we had some really good positive news. The first trans woman in Maryland Miss USA history won her title, and she had more than one first. So her name is Bailey Ann Kennedy, if I can actually talk. And first trans woman in Maryland history to win the Miss USA pageant for her state, and she get to go on to the Miss USA Nationals. But she's also the first military spouse as well. So she's married to a member of the armed forces. And so it's one, congratulations to Bailey. What an accomplishment. And, she broke a lot of barriers. She's also a Cambodian American. So she's of Cambodian descent. And just an absolutely gorgeous human being, and couldn't be more thrilled for somebody to be able to do that. And I have several friends, actually got a couple friends that are pageant winners that also happen to be trans. I have a friend from the Netherlands that has won a title. She actually won a Miss World title for the transgender community, and I know several other people that have won titles, and it's cool to see. She wasn't the first one in Miss USA history to win. It's happened in other states. But yeah, it's something that breaking down those barriers, breaking down those, seeing people that work differently, that the what again the extreme norms that we have in this country, that we all have to be white, blonde hair, blue eyed, 5'8", and if you deviate too much from that, you can't be a beauty pageant person or a rockette. Whatever crazy standard, which is, to me, just some of this stuff is just so restrictive. But what a cool time to be alive. It's really, it makes me a little sad that it took all the way to 2024 to see that barrier broken in Maryland. But at the same time, I'm glad to see it happen. It's a positive news, which we don't always get. We probably, in this era of Trumpism, and not to bring him into the conversation, but this whole MAGA deal where we have increased hate crimes and increased violence and increased murder rates, and fentanyl scare stories, and so many people ODing on narcotics. And it's neat to see somebody do something positive that's a barrier breaker, that changes hopefully begins the conversations to change our perception of not only trans women, but so many other communities as well, that you can be a military spouse and compete. You can be of some sort of Asian descent and can compete, that it's not locked into just white women or white passing women or anything like that, that we can see that diversity. We can celebrate that diversity and not make it the only reason why somebody wins, but actually enjoy what they did do and what they did accomplish, and just hoist them up and say, congratulations, way to go, girl, proud of you. And actually have some positive flipping news too. Like, that would be really super cool. That would definitely go on my Christmas list for Santa. Another really positive thing, I guess it's a positive because it was originally a negative. A federal judge, Judge Robert Hinkle, overturned SB 254 in the Florida courts, the federal Florida courts, and it's the labeled as the anti-trans bill that restricted gender affirming care, but also put a heavy amount of restrictions on insurance, even for adults, an age of the majority. It was the case called Doe versus Ladapo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's one of those things that most of these bills that turn into laws that are like this, that pick a specific community and say, everybody else can use hormones, everybody else can go to a therapist for whatever, even gender dysphoria, as long as you don't declare it trans. And when you pick out a community, one, it violates a lot of laws, HIPAA laws, so many laws, First Amendment reasons. There's so many, it's so unconstitutional, and honestly, it's illegal and unethical to pick out any community, whether it's based on skin tone, whether it's based on gender, whether it's based on your sexuality, whatever it is. When you target a specific community or communities, it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's a waste of everybody's time. We all know why it happens. We know that it's for the shock and the awe, and for low information voters that typically vote Republican, it is to give them some more red meat. Oh yeah, DeSantis is really sticking it to them, And he chimed in right away and said, "Oh, we're going to appeal it." Okay, well, you're going to lose again then, because it's illegal shit. You knew it was illegal shit when you passed it, and you still signed it in the law because you're a dipshit. And that is why you weren't the Republican nominee, because asshole-ish things like that. as bad as Trump was, he really didn't do much real, true anti-LGBT stuff. The short-lived transgender ban in the military lasted for about as long as a hot minute because the OD said, "Oh, we ain't doing it. What are you gonna do? Fire us all?" And they kept on going. They didn't kick. I don't even know if even one transgender person got kicked out of the military that I know of. And so, but this law greatly affected people, increased violence towards trans individuals in Florida. And in general, it causes violence towards non-transgender people that maybe it's a cis woman or a NATO woman that looks a little bit more masculine, maybe has a high and tight, shaved, white wall haircut. Because there are women that were assigned female at birth that are tall or that have muscular shoulders, or they're a marathon runner, or they're a weightlifter that maybe skew towards some kind of masculine edge that from behind you're not 100% sure if they're female or not. And so you go into this panic mode. Oh my God, there's a trans person going into a women's bathroom. And these type of things are so dehumanizing, not because the majority of women aren't trans. The majority, like 99%, like only 0.5% at the most of women are actually trans. That means 99.5% or more are cis women. And so who's going to be affected more in the long run as far as the overarching discrimination or misogyny or hate? And the spillover affects cis women a lot more than trans women in the long run. And it's what leads to a societal misogyny and hate and homophobia and probably just, again, really, really stupid. Just a super bad idea. Whereas congratulations, and we appreciate judges like Robert Hinkle that overturn illegitimate and unethical laws and actually restore justice to our society. It's good to see in this era of Alitos and Clarence Thomases and people that are absolute jackasses and bribe takers. It's good to see a judge actually be rational and make a good, proper decision for human rights, and just to overturn a problematic law. It's again, is that our society does need to highlight some of the positives. We don't have to be Pollyanna. It doesn't have to be positive 24/7 because that's not sustainable or realistic. But I think we do need to talk about some of these topics. I think we had to have these conversations multiple times, just like having the anti-racist topic. I don't think you can have it too much. I don't think we can ever be too anti-racist. It's just like being too peaceful. It's like, how can you be too peaceful? Is what is too peaceful, by the way? It's like, I kind of like that peace. I prefer not to be in any kind of war of any kind. I'd love to spend that money on books instead of bombs. Seems like a wiser choice. And but yeah, the show went by really quick. We are just about 40 minutes in, and it's wrap up time. This has been 2 Queers and a Tractor. We'll see you next week. Bye, Boo.
Bye, Boo. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching and enjoying me rant on for about 40 minutes. But anyway, we'll see you next week. And happy Pride Month. Be safe out there.
Bye, y'all. Happy Pride. Bye, Boo.
Bye, y'all. Bye, Boo.
I completely agree with you about the national coming out thing. I never understood that either. It's like, It's funny you say that because it's like I don't really understand why we have a National Coming Out Day, other than I guess it's like do you think that's more generational though, Jen? Like our generation, they needed that or they wanted that? Because the younger people don't have like coming outs. It's like
You know,
people like us, like our age.
I think it's less and less frequent
Yeah.
because I notice with older trans women that they really celebrate their transversary when they went on the Book of Face or whatever and said, oh, today, I went
Yeah.
on hormones or I went on hormones last week, but today's my coming out day or my transversary or
Yeah.
whatever. And we really make that a big deal. But
Yeah.
I think by making it such a big deal,
You
it,
make it as if though it wasn't normal or you're not
yeah,
normal
yeah, like,
because you have to come out to prove to people in a way but I don't know how to I mean no I mean I think you worded it right because it's like it's by it's a double-edged sword because I don't know really double-edged sword but by coming out makes it sound like you weren't normal in the first place.
mhm,
You're right.
like I
It's
was
like
doing something
straight
wrong.
straight people like straight people don't say today's my coming out day. I'm you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's like we're like, oh well, yeah, we knew you were. I mean, that's what we say to them,
yeah,
and many of them really say that to us too. But I'm wondering if it's more generational because like the younger people, they don't necessarily have that. They're like, whereas we seem like we have that a lot more. Or at least the people I like, I never had like a coming out. It was just something that was done, you
yeah.
know?
Well, and I
So
also think I don't know if social media has made it worse
yeah,
or better. I think at times where somebody has to draw a line in the sand on no matter what the coming out thing is for, whether it's a sexuality or a gender thing. I think we don't do ourselves any favors by making it such a big thing. I think it's still coming out. I think can be important,
yeah,
um, but I think it can. I think when we put so much pressure on it, when we
yeah,
make it such a big deal, like, oh, when did you come out?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know. I
well, I
really
always
didn't.
have been. Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly. I've always
I
been that
don't.
way. You
I've
mean you
always
mean when
been
I came
queer.
out of my mom? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. That's September
Hey,
17th, 1969.
hey Jen,
Uh,
Jen, give me about 15 minutes because I have to go. I have to go to the bathroom.
go take care of business.
Yes, I'll be back. 15 minutes. All
All
right.
right. Bye.